Doop-a-doop-a-doop.
Hey!
Hey! Hello, guys.
Hey.
We're here. Do you remember a time when you didn't feel good about your body and it was the 2000s and the 90s?
Yes, this is a part 2 to our 90s, early 2000s series, and yeah, I think every single day.
Mm-hmm. It was the time when we had heroin chic and we had Tyra
Heroin
Banks.
chic is crazy.
It's out of control.
We
And
had
it was
Tyra
glamorous.
Banks.
We had Paris Hilton with her low-rise jeans
We had all those girls just walking around.
telling us that's beauty. That's the
And
only beauty.
yeah. Well, it's not.
Well, it's not, and we're gonna dive into that today.
Mhm.
I'm Kirsten,
I'm Allie.
and you're listening to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the 90s and the 2000s and how it's affected us today in our bodies.
Fuck you so much.
Exactly for that one.
Thank you so much, 2023, because we recognize that it is not healthy. It's very toxic.
You know, I would like to this would be a good episode to like talk to a teenager. Are there any teens listening? Like, what is it like for you guys? I'm sure they still have bullying
Of course.
about bodies, but I feel like
But what
it
are
must
they
be a
getting
little bit
bullied
easier.
about now? I
Yeah.
want to know. And
Yeah.
also, like, is it a little bit less about body now?
Mhm.
Like, do people talk about that like we used to?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know any
Yeah.
teenagers personally.
I don't either, but I have friends who have daughters and sons that are 12 and 13.
Okay, well,
So
maybe we
maybe
can
we can
follow
ask
up with
them.
them on another episode.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we're going to have a part 2 to this, but this is part 2 of the 90s 2000s trend. Let's talk about our weeks briefly.
Yes.
Well, you I think have the most like exciting thing
Well,
this week. Like
my 2 friends are in town. They're married from New York City, and we've known each other since middle school, so it's very exciting.
holla.
And we've been running around doing stuff.
Mhm.
As you do.
What'd you guys do?
We went to the last bookstore. We went to the Venice Canals today. We went to restaurants.
Have they like toured LA, like done the
They've been here before, but it's been very brief each time. So this is the first time that they're actually able to tour and do the touristy things.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's fun. They know a lot of people out here too. So
Okay.
but we're all staying in my studio apartment.
That's exciting. So yeah, it's you, them, the dog, the cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a full house.
It's a full house. Yeah. But I'm actually going to a wedding. I'm leaving tomorrow, so they'll have the house to themselves with just a cat.
That'll be nice for them.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but they'll miss you.
Yeah, I'm sad because it's all the way in Connecticut and it's like right next to New York.
Yeah, so it's like you probably would have visited them.
I could have
just
this. Like, yeah, stayed in New York for a little bit afterwards, but it's okay. It all works out.
That's life.
They have a place to stay, and I'm not going to be in their way. So
yeah, and you still got to see them.
Yeah,
that's good.
What about you?
I had nothing really prepared to talk about. I feel like this week this week was weird. Like it was Memorial Day weekend, but I actually did work yesterday, but I ended up calling in sick. And I don't know, my work has been like I feel like last week I just didn't really work that much. I only worked 4 days and a lot of days where I wasn't working, but I don't know what I'm doing in my free time. It's like I'm hanging out with friends. Oh, there was a housewarming party we went to.
Oh,
that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was exciting. Our friend just got this big old house. It's like a 4-bedroom house and it's really nice. But I mean with roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He didn't
our friend is rich. He bought a house.
No. Yeah.
No, they're renting it, but it's like, you don't really see that very much in LA where you have like a group of people renting a whole house. So
Like a big house too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was fun. It was like a house party, and it wasn't too packed. It was still like kind of chill, but there was like college games, like beer
Oh
pong,
my god,
and
that is my
yeah,
jam.
yeah. It felt like, but we're all older,
Yeah.
so
I love a good house party.
me too. I love a good house party, and this one wasn't like too crazy. Like I feel like sometimes you go to a house party and you feel like you're the oldest one there,
Mhm.
and it didn't feel like that. Everybody's in their like late 20s, early 30s,
Mhm.
and people just like talking. We played
Oh,
bananagrams.
that's cool.
Yeah,
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 that sounds fun.
it's a fun party.
Cool.
I need to go to more house parties.
Yeah, I prefer to do house parties these days. As long as they're not like college parties, because didn't we go to that one house party and it was like a bunch of young
What?
people
Which one?
on Halloween? We saw Gollum
We saw
with his big
Gollum.
Gollum dick. Remember
What?
him?
Oh yeah, because we went. That was the night that we went to the comedy show
Yes, the
thingy.
Halloween comedy
Yeah,
show.
and then we went to a house party after. Yes,
Yes, and there
yeah,
was a lot of younger
yeah.
people,
Okay, okay, okay. I got you. I'm
and it
there
was
now.
like kind of alarming, but we ended up having a good time. I
There
can't
was
believe
like
it.
another time that I accidentally went to a house party and I was like the oldest one there. But this was years ago. I was
Oh,
like 25 at the
yeah,
time.
that's
So I
not
was
even.
still yeah, I was still pretty young, but like we got invited by these guys that were like 22
Mhm.
and they apparently were the only people that were like of age at the party. So it was like people that were already like a few years younger than us.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
pretty young
like
when
literally
you're 25.
everybody at the party was like it was like high schoolers.
That's
And then
crazy.
the party got raided by the cops and we all had to like go out on the balcony
Oh
and like
my
me and my
god.
friends were like we're like 26. Can we go home? But then we're also like, oh wait, we don't want to get in trouble and like make people think we were providing them alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yikes,
it was really
yikes.
funny. But anyway, that was a tangent.
Okay, well, we can just, start talking about our situation.
Yeah.
Um,
So we what we did was we asked a question to our Instagram followers.
mhm.
Um and the question is something from the body culture of the 90s and 2000s that affected you today. And I realized I just jumped into this, but we should talk about ourselves
Yeah,
first.
because
Yeah.
we both have like memories from that
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I feel like I just talked a lot.
Okay, I'll go. So yeah, my mom was always a little bit overweight. She's just
Uh-huh.
always been like thicker, and when she had kids, she kind of gained more weight. And when I was growing up, I would always hear my grandma like talking about how she's fat now and how she used to not be like that and how
What about herself or about your mom?
about my mom.
Oh.
Like I wish she would take care of herself, like saying this stuff to me.
Aw.
And I'm like, oh. So and dude, like
You
that
never told me that before. I don't
yeah,
think.
my grandma, yeah. I mean, she's just from a different time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, she's 98 now, right now as we speak. But
Wow.
like
Yeah.
she always comments on my body weight now today
Oh,
and my brother's too and
damn. Is
what
she like thin?
yeah, she's always been really small.
Okay.
And I remember like a few months, oh no, maybe it was like last year. I had been working out a lot and like lifting
Mhm.
and feeling really good about myself. And I went over to her house and was just like talking to her. And all she just randomly was like, "So, is this the biggest you've ever been?"
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I like lost it. I lost my mind when I got
Because you
home. I
were
just
like
started
actually
crying.
really healthy at that
Yes,
time.
and I even told her like, "You want to feel my fucking leg muscle?
Yeah.
Cuz I could crush your head right now." But yeah, it fucked me up. And um so that's always been like around me growing up.
Yeah.
And I always had like a big butt, growing up, and I was always really self-conscious about it. and I would try to wear stuff that, like, covered it, or
Mm.
people would talk about it sometimes, and I would be like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Stop talking about my fat butt." But now I love my butt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, now it's, like, cool to have big butt. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it was at that time too, right?
I
Like,
mean,
we had that "I like big butts," and
I
that
know,
I
I
like.
know. I I don't know. I think it was becoming cool maybe, but I was embarrassed about it. I thought it was, like, big and fat or whatever.
Mhm.
But also, like, all of my cousins were really thin growing up and tall. One of my cousins was a model for a second, and
Mm.
I was
Oh,
just this,
wow.
like, 5'1" little, like, short, stubby girl that, my grandma would always warn me about getting fat like my mom, and then, like, meanwhile,
Jeez.
my cousins are these, like, beautiful, like, tall, thin model.
Amazonian.
Yeah.
I'm just, like,
But
imagining.
they would get stuff thrown at them all the time too, like, "Why don't you eat a hamburger?" And,
Mhm.
I know it's not just that side, but
Yeah.
so I got to understand that side of it
For
growing
through
up too.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I mean, I think that side of it was how it was for me, especially when I was younger. Um, I remember thinking, like, "Oh, I really wanna be 125 pounds," because I thought that that was, like, I was always really small, but the funny thing is, like, there's certain times where I didn't feel small, like, I didn't feel small enough, but then all
Mhm.
of my friends would tell me, like, "You're really skinny."
Mhm.
Like, I remember in middle school, no, this was 5th grade. We weighed ourselves in gym class, and I
Mm.
remember comparing weight with, like, the other girls and feeling like I wasn't skinny enough
Mhm.
then, but then when I was in middle school, then I felt too skinny, like, I felt like I wanted to get curves. I think maybe that was part
Mm.
of it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have boobs, and then, um yeah, I was always, like, really flat-chested, and I still
Mhm.
am, but I'm fine with it now, but,
Yeah.
like, um, so I remember thinking at that time, like middle school, "Oh, I wanna be 125 pounds," because I was, like, 110. I was like a stick.
Yeah.
And, like, then I became that, and then I became, like, more than that, and I think, like, when I got into, like, my mid-20s, I got my quote, unquote "woman body," and, like, now I mean, I'm still thin, but, like, I I don't know, came like, it was just this different feeling, like, it's like,
Mhm.
I look at pictures of myself, and I remember at the time, yeah, I feel like I'm contradicting myself because it's like, I didn't feel skinny. I think part of me wanted to be skinnier, and then sometimes I wanted to be, like, thicker. I think I wanted more curves, but I wanted to be skinnier in the
Mhm.
stomach. Maybe
Yeah.
that was part of it.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, looking back at pictures of myself and, like, remembering at that time thinking I was fat or thinking I
Mhm.
needed to, like, lose
Yeah,
weight,
me too.
and
And then you just get bigger each year and you're like, "Oh,
yeah.
wait."
I'm like, "Wait a minute, like, no, I looked so good then." I mean, I think I
Yeah.
still have a little bit of, like, I think that's a fat phobic thought, though, if we're thinking of ourselves as, like, better looking when we were younger and thinner or whatever.
Mhm.
I think that there's, like, internalized fat phobia,
Oh,
like,
I'm sure we all have
yeah.
internalized fat phobia because it's ingrained into our brains, like, from early when we were, just kids to now, like, things have changed so much because I just, there was all kinds of stuff like in the media. If a celebrity gained a little bit of weight, it was the worst thing
Yeah.
possible. And, they don't tell you that, like, weight is mostly genetics. Like,
Right.
weight is mainly genetics. And there's things you can do about it, but it's harder for some people than others. And that, it's not about, like, how you look
Mhm.
anymore, which is great, and, like, people are beautiful in any state, but it's just more complex than I think it's more complex than people think. Like, you can't just lose weight sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just hard, like medication, hormones, like, whatever, and if you're not their doctor, then you shouldn't care.
Yeah, and it's also there's also, like, a huge thing about weight not being like an accurate measurement for your health because you can weigh a lot and still be healthy because of like muscle weight
Mhm.
and like that's such a I don't know, that's such a big thing too. It's like
I weigh the most that I've ever weighed right now, and I've never been, like, this thick before. I've been thick, but, like, I'm, like, getting pretty thick,
mhm.
and, uh, I went to the doctor, and, like, all my blood work was good, like, everything was
Yeah.
great, but when I was, like, really trying to eat healthy and I was working out, like, 5 days a week and just cooking every night and stuff, I all of a sudden had like high cholesterol. I was also eating vegan, high
Mhm.
cholesterol and high blood pressure and like
And
all
then
this
but
stuff.
now you don't have any of that.
Now I
But
don't have
like
any of that.
I wonder if like part of it has to do with stress too. Like maybe you're less stressed now because you're not
Maybe.
like worrying about your diet and all this stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, cuz I'm like pretty satisfied with how I look.
Yeah. Yeah.
um I just don't like buying new clothes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only part.
That's hard because it's like different sizes than what you're used to or like what you remember.
Yeah. But I still have my days like everybody, I think. Because
Yeah.
some days I'll be the same size from one day to the next. But one day I'm like, ooh, I'm looking
Yeah.
good.
It's like the
And then the
angle that you
next
see
day,
yourself in the
yeah.
mirror,
And then the
really.
next day I'm like, ugh. Like I hate looking at myself. So, but you look the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is weird. But I think there is something about like when you wake up in the morning, like you feel thinner because you haven't eaten yet or something.
Oh yeah, I do be getting bloated all the time.
Like, yeah, I mean you as in like people. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
generally, but I get bloated.
But I don't know. I guess yeah. Throughout my life, like since I've been an adult, I feel like I've been like back and forth with how I felt about my body. But in my most like in my more recent adult years, I've never felt too skinny. But I've felt like I've gained weight. It's
I mean,
yeah,
there is a definite time when like a woman's body
just
turns into
changes.
like it gets wider. We're supposed to be bearing children. Gets
Yeah.
wider. We get a little bit softer. Like,
Yeah, I remember when I first discovered cellulite on my body. Like I got it when I was 26
oh,
and I never had it before.
oh
And
shit.
then I was like, "Oh, I have cellulite now."
It's just
It's
something
just
that
there forever
happens.
now.
And it's okay. Like
Yeah.
everyone has it. I think it's unrealistic to think of ourselves as like perfect, like
Mhm.
toned. I don't know. Because that's not like I think social media plays a big part into that too. Because you're
Yeah.
always looking at it, and who knows what people did to those pictures. They know how to pose, they know how to light themselves, like,
Yeah. That
whatever.
is like most of the time not real. But I don't know, I
Yeah.
think some people really don't have cellulite.
I think some people
But
really don't, and that's great for them.
that's great for them.
I think cellulite is hot.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
As a
It's
bisexual
dimply. It's dimply and
as a
cute.
bisexual, I think it's hot.
It's like body dimples
Yeah,
instead of face
they're
dimples.
cuties.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, okay. Well, one thing I guess just like wanted to point out about like sometimes I'm afraid to talk about it because I know that I don't know, I'm not like a big person, but I still had a lot of feelings about it growing up and I think that there's like shame on every side of it. Like
There is.
everybody has had issues whether like you're a size 00 or like a size
That
24.
just proves
Like
that it doesn't really matter what size you are, you're probably
yeah.
you're probably gonna always have these, like, thoughts.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just think back to, like, Next Top Model, when
Mhm.
I remember they had, like, the first plus, like, quote, unquote, "plus size" girl.
She's
She
probably
was,
like a
like
size 6 or
yeah, she was,
something.
like, a size 4 or 6 or something, I forget what they said, and like Janice Dickinson was going in on her being like she's just too big. She's her hips are too wide, her chest is too small.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, we were so in our research for this episode, we were watching like some of the clips from Tyra.
Yeah, problematic.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the girl that was like they're like, well,
She was skinny.
they're like she's thin enough to be a regular model, but not in the hips and thighs. And
Yeah.
then
So
she
she has
can't
to
be
be
either.
she has to be plus size, but then yeah, it was really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we asked this prompt to our friends on Instagram, and just for the sake of time, I'm gonna leave them all anonymous. But let's read some of the responses that we got.
Yeah.
The very first one was from one of your friends. So you want to read that one?
Oh yeah. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so yeah, one of my friends had a lot to say. Um she said freaking everything. And just to
Oh yeah. So the prompt again was
oh yeah.
something from the body culture of the 90s, 2000s that's affected you today.
Yeah, so she is like a tall, very curvaceous, big boobed Asian girl, right?
Okay.
So just to give you some context, she said freaking everything. I'll always have body image issues because the only hot girls when I was a teenager were size 00, and you weren't hot if you had hips, boobs, or a belly. Body hair was a no no, and I got so used to shaving that now if I have body hair, I feel gross. Being a brown girl wasn't cool. It was only cool to be white with a tan. I have really bad problems with my feet because through middle school and high school, I wore shoe sizes that were too small so it didn't look like I had huge feet. I also had terrible posture because I slouched because all the girls had to be shorter than the guys. So that
Mm.
like was hitting
A
on
lot of
everything.
stuff. Yeah.
Like you have to have small feet, you have to be petite, you have to be white, you have to, like
Yeah. It's kind of funny, like, that I think about the tan white person thing. That
yeah.
was such a weird thing in the early 90s and
Because
2000s
everyone
too.
was going to tanning beds.
I went to tanning
I
beds.
worked at one.
I'm, like, so embarrassed by it.
I know, it's awful. I was
Yeah.
really tan there for a minute because I worked at one.
Me too, but it was not healthy for my
Oh my
skin.
god, so stupid.
It is dumb. But yeah, no, there was another thing she said that I related to. Oh, the body hair thing.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 15, my friend laughed at me because I didn't know that you're supposed to shave your pubes. And now you're laughing at me.
Well, you're not supposed to shave your pubes.
Well, yeah, like at the time, quote unquote,
Yeah.
supposed to shave your pubes.
That's funny.
And like, yeah, and it was like stupid because that's not, yeah, first of all, like that's not something that you're supposed to do, or like people shouldn't make you feel shamed for, but it's also like, why are we trying to make us all look like little girls? You know? Like, why are we trying to shave it all off?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's kind of weird when my hoo-ha is completely shaven because I'm like, ooh. It's like, where's my hair? I don't know.
Am I 11?
Am I 11 again? I don't know. Yeah, my cousin actually made me cry because she said that my leg hair was so long I could French braid it. And I was like, Mom, I have to shave my legs.
Is that like when you first decided to shave your legs?
Yeah, I begged my mom. I was like, please, Mom, let me shave. And she was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like shaving specifically was pressure from my friends, like my peers. I never thought it was ugly until other people like made me feel like it was. Yeah. But now I like that that's part of like the body positivity movement that we're having now. Like it's not so much anymore just that.
Yeah.
Like we can have hairy pits and it's okay sometimes.
Yeah. It's all about preference.
So what else we got here?
Oh,
Some
we have a lot.
answers. The responses are rolling in. Oh, can I do that other one? So this one said, seeing celebrities shamed in the media for gaining weight or not being super thin. I internalized that as a fat girl and have carried with me a sense of being less valuable or less lovable than thin or mid-sized folks. I didn't ever think I'd get married or have sex, and it made me really
Aw.
vulnerable to predatory men
Ooh,
who could sense that I didn't have self-worth.
I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Essentially, it caused harm to me that I'll be repairing for the rest of my life.
Damn. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that aspect of it.
Yeah, like people preying on,
They can tell you're insecure.
yeah,
and-
or they think that you're insecure
Yeah.
because like you're bigger or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. Like
Yeah. We
that.
got a couple about low-rise jeans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one person said the emphasis of having to have a flat stomach to wear things like low-rise jeans and crop tops.
Yeah, I think that's such a crazy thing. I think that was the thing for me was the low-rise jeans and my stomach not being like
It
super
just added
flat.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when my other friend said low-rise jeans, like period.
Well, I remember like I would do the little workouts in 17 magazine to get like to like lose your muffin top.
Mhm.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the muffin top thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, ew, these jeans are just really unflattering.
Yeah,
to
they're
almost
so
everyone.
bad. Like high-waisted jeans is where it's at. I'm glad that's
Yeah.
the trend now.
I'm never going back.
But
I don't
it's
care if it gets popular.
it's really crazy though, like the flat stomach thing. I think it really was the pants that we were wearing because
They
I'll
sit
like
right underneath like the poochiness.
yeah, like I mean I'll look back at pictures of myself and I thought that my stomach wasn't flat at all, and I'm
Mhm.
like I'll look at it and I'm like my stomach was like
Same.
so
I always
flat.
thought I had this big old
Yeah, I thought it was
stomach.
so pudgy.
Yeah, and then now I look at it and I'm like, damn girl,
yeah, you was
you
thin.
had almost had a six pack.
Yeah.
Like,
But you still
damn
look,
near.
but you know, that was pretty then and this is pretty now. What you are now is pretty too.
I like my tummy. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I like my tummy too. I didn't
Just a
like
cutie tummy.
I didn't
It's
I
taken
wish
a long time to get here,
yeah.
but I think she's cute.
She's healthy.
Yes. We also had our friend who said, I still have a voice in my head telling me not to use butter and oil, but then I tell it to shut the fuck up. Because butter and oil are yummy.
Yeah. That's like I mean yeah. I think there was like a big thing about like trans fats. I mean that's still sort of a thing.
The
But
diet
like
culture as a whole, we did get another
yeah.
one about that. 90s diet culture, low fat, high carbs, even the cabbage soup diet. Like, this is not healthy.
Yeah. I mean, it was a time for fad diets.
Yes.
So these fad diets weren't actually, it was like a get skinny quick scheme.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like there was no
they were never sustainable.
Yeah, there was no actual evidence for these working or
they would work. They would make you really skinny really quick and then quote unquote and then
you just gain it back.
Yeah, because it's not sustainable. Like your body is not getting the nutrients that it actually needs to be healthy.
Yeah, you're just I mean, I remember one time for prom, I was scared I wasn't gonna fit into my dress, and I like starved myself damn
Aw.
near for like 2 weeks. Like, only ate salads with
Oh, there's such a fucking culture for that too. Like
yeah.
wedding dress, like fitting into a wedding dress.
And I lost the weight, and I fit in to my dress, but I remember being like, wow, that worked.
Mm.
Like, barely eating worked.
Yeah, and that's how people get fucking eating disorders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
That was, I mean, there's so much that we could talk about just about that time. Eating
Mhm.
disorders was huge. Anorexia.
Bulimia.
We could do like a fucking 4-part series.
We really
just on
could.
this shit.
Yeah.
But
Do you remember that quote? Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
yeah, what is that from?
I think Kate Moss said it.
Oh my god.
Which we talked about her in the last episode.
Yeah, that's
She
wild.
was just a 90s queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I disagree with that.
Well, yeah. But
Everything tastes better.
right.
that.
I think I'm happier being able to have a little bit of ice cream
Yeah.
and a hamburger.
What a sad life. Not eating that
I
shit.
love food. So, yeah, some of the other we're just gonna kind of go through some of the other ones. This one was kind of fun. Girls Gone Wild commercials equals, well, this verbatim, Girls Gone Wild commercials equals queer awakening.
Yeah, it doesn't really have much to do with the body image, but Girls Gone Wild was a thing.
Yeah. Well, that was crazy
Mhm.
because
Just flashing the camera.
yeah.
We love to see it.
Uh-huh.
I think
But I
that
think it's
yeah.
also well, the idea of women being sexualized, that kind of like queerness being sexualized, like girls gone out wild, girls making out with girls,
Mhm.
and just being sexualized for our bodies because of
Mhm.
that. So there is an angle there
Yeah,
for
true.
sure.
True.
But yeah. Yeah. Or like girls making out with girls to impress guys, but then
Yeah,
you
to get
realize he
attention.
actually like a
Yeah.
but Girls Gone Wild is also just crazy too because that was like it just reminds me of like fake tits.
Oh, yeah.
Fake tits
For
everywhere.
sure. I think that was really big. And now people are getting them removed,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
Yeah, another thing about that time, I think I read there was a statistic that I found that was about
Plastic
the yeah,
surgery.
plastic surgery in the 2000s. So from 2000 to 2009, there was a 36% increase in breast augmentation and 84% increase in the tummy tuck.
Ooh.
A 4,184% increase in lower body lifts?
What? Like a Brazilian butt lift?
Maybe. And a 4,191% increase in arm lifts. That's weird. But yeah, the breast augmentation was a huge thing. I wonder what the 90s stat is on that.
Well, you know what I think? I think it's probably because everyone was trying to be so freaking skinny that
Yeah.
they lost their boob fat
Uh
along with it. But then they're like, wait, but I still want big boobs. And they like
yeah.
make themselves have big boobs, but also being super skinny,
Yeah.
which
Is
normally,
unrealistic. And that's
yeah, but
Barbie.
there are people
Yeah.
who have that body type.
It's just not common.
They're God's favorite,
Yeah.
but it's not that common. Yeah.
It's not yeah, that in any case, plastic surgery was a big thing. Here's another one. We had tiny bodies being glorified. So we
Hmm.
kind of have touched on that in the
Yeah.
beginning with the heroin chic
Yeah.
idea and
Yeah, heroin chic, like, yeah, if that doesn't sum it up,
yeah,
I don't know what
that's
does. Like, you should look like you do drugs.
yeah, it's
You should be
scary.
so skinny you look like you do drugs.
And then related to that, our friend said, older women praised my skinniness, even though I'm still prepubescent and baby. So I think she wasn't even thinking about her body probably at that time.
Yeah.
And then older women are just commenting on it.
But she was
But
like a child.
yeah, but I can actually really relate to that specifically because, well, it makes me think of my grandma always talking about how she was the most petite girl in her class and she would ask me yeah like thinking about your story with your grandma my grandma who's 95 now
She
would
old
always
too.
she would ask me I don't remember exactly how she worded it but it was something like compared to the other girls in your class like are you the skinniest or something like
Oh my
that yeah
god.
it wasn't that direct
Are you
it
the
was
who's the
it was in
skinniest
a
girl of them
it was in an
all?
indirect kind of way, but she would sort of imply, like, "I was the most petite girl in my class, and how about you?" kind of thing, you know?
Wow.
Um, but yeah, in any case, it's funny because even before we were worried about our bodies, other people were worried about our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember being like, I don't know, I was like 8 or something, like something crazy. And this lady told my mom that I had a really nice figure. And I was like,
You're 8.
I know, I was like, what does that mean?
A
Like, I don't
figure? Yeah,
understand.
yeah, so she was just saying you're skinny.
Yeah, and I still had a little butt. Maybe she was like, oh my God, such a
She's gonna
cute,
be a
I don't
heart
know.
now.
But I was like, that's weird. Like looking back,
Yeah, it
that's
is
fucking weird.
weird to talk about an 8-year-old like that, and I'm sure, like, it was meant with no malice, but it those words do weigh on you.
Like,
Like,
I remember it now, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
freaking 33.
yeah,
So,
exactly. It must have been sort of like, oh,
yeah,
what? Yeah.
crazy.
It is kind of crazy how young we are when we start thinking about our bodies, and
Mhm.
like it shouldn't matter at that time. We shouldn't be sexualized.
No,
And then the last comment that we recently got was America's Next Top Model. And we could do a whole episode just on that.
honestly. I mean, that has anyone seen, like, the episodes today? Like, looking back from that time? Because they are all problematic, like,
Yeah.
not just with body image and, like, calling people fat who are actually really skinny, or, like, models starving themselves because, Tyra said that their hips were too big or something, but also just, like, Tyra and the whole team, like, turning them into other
Yes,
races
making
and
people do blackface
yeah, or,
and
like, making them do these extreme makeovers and, like,
yeah.
just cause trauma to these girls, like,
And then that makes me think of Extreme Makeover.
oh
There's
my
so
god.
many, yeah. And so we were gonna talk about some of this stuff in this episode, but I
Mhm.
think it would behoove us to save it, and we might do a part 2 or a part 3
We
of
might,
this
because
topic.
there's a lot.
And if listeners out there want to add any of their stories and you didn't get a chance to
Say your piece.
weigh in, no pun
No!
intended, um, please contact us. You can DM us. We're on Thank You So Much Pod
On
for
Instagram.
Instagram,
Mhm.
and or tweet
Oh,
us.
tweet us, TYSM Podcast. Or email us.
Or email us. And I think that's Thank You So Much Pod
Yeah, at
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Mhm.
So hit us up any of the avenues you want to. There's also apparently a Q&A on Spotify option.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been responding to that actually.
Yeah, I know. I
I'm like,
saw.
"I love you
I
guys."
saw. So let
Um,
Allie not be the only one, and you can also we'll look at that.
yeah,
So, so many opportunities to contact us
get your
and
voice heard.
interact. Yeah. But this was a good episode. I think we only touched the surface. We scratched the
Yes,
surface of
yes.
this shit hole of society.
Oh my god.
Well, sorry, that escalated really quickly, but it was a really tough time to be a teenager.
Yeah,
It was being a teenager is hard,
I
but being a
already.
teen in the early
At least
2000s.
at least we didn't have social media at our fingertips like they
Oh,
do right
that's
now.
true. I mean, we had MySpace, but it was
But it was, like,
different.
on a
Yeah, you
computer.
could log out.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not, like, in school scrolling, like,
Yeah, yeah.
because
So
Facebook was really shoddy, like, at that time on the
right.
phone, and everything was weird. Like, you had to go through the browser on your phone.
Yeah, I barely was able to even use that.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
would use the family
I didn't
desktop and
yeah. So,
yeah, so it was there's blessings, I guess, but
yeah.
in any case it was a tough time. And hit us up, guys.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Love you. Bye. Peace
Love
out.
you.
Bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.